Hello, Aries. Welcome to your December 2022 tarot card and astrology reading. Congratulations, we made it to December. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Jane, for those of you who are new. I am so grateful to have you here. So as always, these readings are separated into two segments. The first segment is going to be an intuitive tarot card reading, and the second segment is going to be an astrological prediction. So you're more than welcome to watch either segment first. All the timestamps are going to be found in the description box and the comment thread down below for easy access. You can watch for your sun, moon, or rising sign, although I do recommend watching your rising sign if you are concerned about having accurate house transit information. You can certainly watch for your Venus sign if you're here for love. And if you're interested in joining my Soul Seekers group, we would absolutely love to have you on there. Soul Seekers group is where I post exclusive content specifically geared for members, where we go more in depth on specific transits, and we have a little bit more educational information coming out on there as well. So please see the timestamps in the description box and the comment thread down below to jump to each segment of the reading. I hope you guys have an amazing December. You know I love you, and I'll see you in just a sec. Hello, Aries. Welcome to your monthly reading for December 2022. I don't know which one that was. So we are going to go ahead and pull out a card from my intuitive deck here to kick off the channel. So let's see what comes through for Aries for December 2022. All right. First of all, you need to know you have a lot of options in front of you. But I think the reason you have a lot of options is because it's coming from a place of confusion or a lack of knowing what you want. Because when you don't know what you want, the universe is like, here, you could do this, or you could do this, or this, or this, or this, or this. And you're like, oh, now I feel so overwhelmed. And now I feel paralyzed, like I can't make a decision now. And this is probably going to be a month where you're going to have to get really, really serious about the thing that you really seriously want. And I'm also feeling that it's something that you may be afraid, you have been afraid to really commit to, and you've been afraid to go all in. And there may be reasons, like there may be extraneous reasons or external circumstances, right? There may be another person involved who's making it more complicated. There may be, office politics that you're dealing with, or there may be a financial reason, or some kind of friend or family member is doing something. And I'm not saying that that stuff isn't happening or it's not hard to deal with that. But I actually feel that this is quite simple for Aries, but only if you want it to be simple. And that the simple thing is going to require a simple commitment, but that commitment is going to require you to do some hard things. Which is okay, we can do hard things. It's okay, we can do hard things. And it's going to take a leap of faith, and it's going to take some ups and downs and some successes and failures. I feel like Aries is entering into a new learning curve. All right, that you're kind of like wearing out the old knowledge that you have, and you're about to enter into a new library of knowledge through life experience, right? Through the school of life experience. And that is going to require a whole new set of challenges, but not necessarily bad ones. I think these are high quality challenges, quote unquote. When I say high quality, what I mean is they are challenges that if you overcome them will absolutely get you to where you want to be. So I think the choice is simple. There is really only one path for Aries, just so long as you admit to yourself that that is what you want. I think the trouble truly comes in when we don't admit it, because it means something else is going to have to happen, right? There's got to be a sacrifice, there's got to be a loss, or there's got to be, sometimes when people say, hey, I want this, other people can freak out. So if you're avoiding dealing with other people's reactions and whatnot, chances are you're not going to be able to avoid that much longer. Death and rebirth. Well, there you go. I mean, you have to be able to accept the fact that you're changing and that the old 100% cannot be repeated if you want different results. Like if you're looking at an area of your life, I'm not saying your whole life, but if you are looking at an area of your life and you are unhappy with that area of your life, you have to change your behavior. You simply have to. And right now, I think Aries is getting pushed to a period of like where you're getting annoyed with yourself. You get annoyed with yourself, you get frustrated, and you start to say, okay, enough, right? Enough. Like I'm not doing it anymore. I won't allow myself to do it anymore because this isn't what I want. I want something different. So in the environment, we have the Queen of Cups. Now, this is a really nurturing quality. You know, a Queen of Cups has a motherly nature. It could be a person, or it could just be an indication of like, look at how much the divine really loves you. Look at how much the divine wants to see you succeed. One of the reasons maybe Aries hasn't been taking that risk or taking that chance or doing the simple thing that requires hard things is because you just didn't have any sense of security whatsoever that it was going to be okay. You know, some people we know that, you know, they stay in challenging relationships because they don't believe that there's hope for them outside of it. They don't believe that there could be a life outside of it. Some people stay in perpetual financial cycles because they inherently don't feel like they deserve it. I think in their mind, they're like, no, I do, I want it. But there's something about the energy. Okay, there's something about what you're putting out there. And look, she's kind of in this auric field here. You have to be really, really, really conscious and aware of what you're putting out there. You know, you have to be aware of, this is why healing and shadow work is really important, because it's like knowing that like certain events caused a degree of pain or sadness or anger or fear can help you to change this. If you don't know and you avoid or you repress or whatever, then you're just going to keep putting this out there. If you were someone who had a lot of fear as a child, or your very survival was dependent on something that was scarce, you're going to be in like fight or flight mode almost all the time. And that can manifest in every other area of your life until that feels resolved. So this is your sign, Aries, that you are safe. You are safe and you are loved and you are valuable and you are talented, and what you say matters and what you think matters and what you create matters, and that it's okay to be consistent. It's okay to choose a single path. You know, you don't have to get so caught up in all the options, because really there really aren't all these options when you're truly aligned with your soul's purpose, your soul's ideal path. If you need help with that, what I would recommend is taking a look at your sun placement, and not the zodiac sign that it's in, but the house placement, and really study the significations of that house. All right? Really study the significations of that house. That's what you're really here. That's what your soul came here to do. All right? And you may want to study your moon as well, but really the sun. And just know that every other planet in your chart is here to help your sun accomplish its goal. Plain and simple. Another death card. So Aries, this really is the end for you. You know, this is the end of this era. And I honestly, here's the confusion, right? I mean, it really is all over the place, but it is, but it's not. And it definitely doesn't have to stay that way. I think Mars being in Gemini in your third house with that activation, plus ninth house activation with Sagittarius season at the beginning of December, or the majority of December rather, all that mutable energy in these houses can certainly create a big stir. It can be hard to land on something, but the Ten of Cups says just be happy. Honestly, just be happy. If you are doing something that you feel locked into and you're so afraid to take the risk toward the thing that your heart is calling you to do, then you're going to get stuck in the more destructive aspect of the death process. Death can only work, and it can only work seamlessly if we don't push against it. All right, it's like, can I use this really weird example? It just came to my mind. I don't know why. It's like, you know how they say sometimes one of the reasons why like spirits get trapped, like in locations, like when someone dies on a property and their spirit doesn't go where it's supposed to go. It's like that's either happening because there's confusion, because maybe it died in some kind of a traumatic experience and it's lost, or because there is an attachment or something like that, or they're waiting for something to happen. Like if you're in this perpetual state of waiting, the rebirth can't happen. If you're waiting for someone else, or you're waiting for that client to do this, or you're waiting for that money to come in, or you're waiting for your partner to be like, just expect to be here for a long time. That's all. And if you're okay with that, then fine. But this could be a really in and out process as well. You can release or eliminate and then move on. And you're safe to do that, by the way. You're safe to surrender to this death experience. If you embrace the joy, if you embrace the things that make you feel a sense of relief, because if you're doing something that is like 1,000,000 pounds on your shoulders, if you feel that weight laying on you, it's like, oh man, don't you want to feel that sense of relief? Have you ever been, like, I'm sure you've worked out at some point in your life, right? You've gone to the gym, you've lifted some weights, and you know that feeling when you finally put that weight down. Like I know for me, I have really weak grip muscles. So if I ever do something where I'm lifting a heavy weight that maybe my back can handle it, but my grip muscles can't. But when I put that dumbbell down, it's like, oh my gosh, it feels so good, right? It's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like a relief. Okay, so 3 of Wands. Ooh, a Hierophant. See, with the 10 of, I just want to, before I even pull out the third card, I just want to just mention the fact that the Hierophant is in the very center of the reading. I always say this is the inner Buddha, the inner guru. There is no fear here, by the way. This is the link between you and God. This is the part of you that is always 100% aligned with the absolute truth and the absolute reality. This is the higher aspect of yourself. This is the all-knowing aspect of yourself. And this is the part of you that cannot ever be afraid ever. Because it has all the information. If you had all the information, you wouldn't be afraid either. All right? And so when and you can access this in so many different ways. You can access this through meditation, through going on a walk or listening to your favorite music, by dancing and moving your body, by singing, and just kind of getting into any kind of a zone where your busy mind that's always yip-yapping all over the place, it's like, if you can get to that zone place, the clarity will come. It's just that heart will start to alert you. This is what makes me happy. This is what I want to do. This is where I feel I will flourish. This is where I feel my abundance is going to come from. I don't know that Aries is like looking for miracles right now, because I actually believe that this is a very real option for you right now. If you're in an unhealthy relationship and you don't want to be in it anymore, you actually can leave Will there be complications? Well, if you're married, absolutely, right? Leaving, going through a divorce, that can be really, really, really hard. If you're in a difficult financial situation and you're wanting more money and you have a potential career path that'll bring that money in, is that real for you? Yes, 100%. You just got to move in that direction. You just may be afraid because that may mean, oh, well, then I'm going to have to quit this job, which has been really stable for me for a really long time. And this is what I know. And this is promised income. So if I take that risk, I don't know. It's just like there's no imminent danger. There's no imminent danger for you right now, Aries. And with that Three of Wands, there is a signification that things are coming in, that the good things, the wanted things are coming in. You're not going to be in this place forever, although you have a choice to participate in the prolonging of this place, which I don't think that's really what Aries wants to do. I'm pretty sure you don't want to prolong this. So, if you release your sense of control or your desire to control. And that's something that I think as Pluto leaves Capricorn in March and comes into Aquarius, we are going to realize that we had some false sense of control over something, and that all this time it was just us trying to control it because we were afraid. It's all going to hit us differently, but we're going to get hit with that eventually. But Pluto coming into Aquarius means we are going to stop trying to control. Okay? King of Wands reversed. There's something about your creativity. Now, you don't have any fifth house activity right now, but Saturn is in the 11th house, which means it is in opposition with your fifth house. And the reason why I'm bringing up the fifth house is because this is a card of Leo, and Leo rules your fifth house. And it does feel like there's a blockage there. Like you don't believe that your creative endeavors, and you may have already started something, right? You may have already started a little business, or you may have already had a little bit of a career with something, or you may have already educated yourself with something, and so maybe you've already begun some kind of a process, but you haven't fully embraced it because it didn't fit your immediate needs at the time. Well, it's starting to become apparent that maybe you should have, but again, we don't want to be in a state of regret. So now is your chance. Are you going to capture this opportunity to be as creative as you know you need to be? Or are you going to let this death process drag out? Are you going to let yourself become like a ghost that's caught in limbo, that's just weirdly observing this world that's not even really yours anymore? I like that analogy. It's like being caught in a reality that is inaccessible to you. I feel like you're going to have some pretty substantial insights come to you. There is something about creativity and money coming through with King of Wands, and this is the card of Taurus. So we have like a Leo-Taurus connection. Second house, fifth house. Money coming through creative endeavors. And with that North Node conjunct Uranus in Taurus, this is really where the breakthrough is going to happen for everybody. And so for you, this is in the second house, which is money, but it is deeply rooted and deeply connected with self-value, which you may not have been validated as a child. You may not have been seen or heard as a child. And if you were, I'm not even going to say you were necessarily a victim of abuse, because you didn't have to be. I recently read a book called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, something like that. And a lot of people, I think, they look at their lives and they're like, yeah, but my parents took care of me and I had a good home and I had clean clothes and we had food on the table and we had a good environment and I went to a great school and I had I have no reason to complain. Like my life was really, really good. Like I'm one of those people, right? But then when you really realize how messed up you can be when your parents are emotionally immature, you're like, oh, dang. Well, that just like went straight to the gut, because it's really confusing as to why you have some issues that you have when your parents, in all, were really good people and they just didn't really realize, they didn't know, they weren't in tune. So if you struggle with a sense of self-value, if you struggle with feeling unseen or feeling like you really just can't get there, you can't figure out how to take yourself from where you are and get yourself to where you want to be, this is likely a time where you're going to have some breakthroughs as the sun comes through Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces over the next several months. It really started in Scorpio season last month, but we're kind of in that in-between eclipse cycle time where a lot starts to sink in and we start to really absorb a lot that's going to be helpful for our progress in the future. And I think with that judgment card, I'm just going to use that word judgment, where we really do come into judgment and we say, all right, I need to practice good judgment on a daily basis. When I wake up, am I making a good decision? When I, how do I want to say this? Like when I wake up, do I make a good decision? When I have a choice, do I make a good decision? Everything from what I eat, to the way I spend my time, to the way I work, to the way that I invest in something. When I get money, am I doing good things with it? Whatever it is, am I making a good decision right now? And if I was on the outside looking in, would I advise myself to do something different? Or if my best friend was me and she was coming to me for advice, what would I advise her to do? So Aries is practicing the best judgment that they possibly can. And with the moon coming out as in reverse, if I could talk, it does seem that there is something coming up out of these sort of, the moon is a very retentive planet, or not really a planet, but like a luminary, right? It's a very retentive energy. It tends to retain a lot of information like a sponge, and it actually contains everything, even if we can't consciously recall it. Something seems to be coming up from the depths here to be processed. And the more and more you choose your happiness, the more and more you choose your alignment, the more and more you choose to live a life of greater self-worth or greater self-value, the more you do that, the more likely this thing is to heal and this rebirth is to happen more quickly. And that rebirth is going to bring greater abundance and wealth, as we see with that Three of Wands. But there does seem to be a suppression of your creativity and your self-expression, which means you may have always been trying to do it the right way. Now, Aries is a rebel in a lot of ways, as with that Mars rulership. He's a leader. He doesn't follow. So if you found yourself following in the footsteps of other people and doing what other people do, this is your time where you can say, all right, universe, I don't want to be following everybody else anymore. I want to be in the lead and in control of my own life. Please help me get there. And the universe will respond, because that's a genuine energetic boom. It's like, boom, okay, well, things have to start changing at that point. All right, you're really powerful right now. You are very powerful. A lot of this is coming out because Chiron is going direct. Okay? A lot of this is coming out because Chiron is going direct. All right, well, there's the Aries card, which we love to see. Oh, before I even continue, All these cards, these are the clarifiers that I'm about to pull out. We're going to talk about those in the comprehensive readings. There are multiple ways to access, so please just read the description box and the comment thread down below. We're going to take about 25 to 30 extra minutes talking about all these cards. A lot of extra information does come out in these readings, so please, if you want to join us, please make sure you just select the right options. I do have subscriptions available as well. So that information is down there too. So just make sure you read through and select the right thing. Okay, so we have the 4 of Cups and 2 of Wands. Okay, I could. All right, now for the environment, what else does Aries need to know regarding their environment? Okay, beautiful. Page of Coins. The Magician. I love the Magician with the Queen of Cups, specifically the artwork in this Light Seers deck. I just love how she's like, yes, she's in water, but there's like this swish of magic all around her. She just seems so etheric and magical and so in command and control of the energy. And then we have a Tower. Yeah, well, with Death card, we like the Tower because it means that it's not going to be a long, prolonged process, you know? All right, 7 of Cups. What else does Aries need to know about the 7 of Cups? Queen of Coins. The Star. Ooh, Empress reversed. I think Aries is really trapped in a masculine energy right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. You are a Mars ruled sign. But I do think the more feminine qualities, like there needs to be more of a balance with that Empress reversed. And I'll explain that a little bit more in detail in the comprehensive. So we have the 7 of, ooh, interesting, 7 of Coins. Ace of Cups, I'm sorry. Ugh, 7 of Swords. What is going on right now? Just messed up all the cards. All right, it's fine. And then we'll take 8 of Wands for that as well. Hold on. Let me just, this is going to bug me. It's still not going to be perfect, but we'll get a little bit more, a little bit better. All right, sorry about that. All right, now the Death card. So what else does Aries need to know about the Death card? 10 of Swords. Ooh, I love it. I honestly, guys, Hierophant is like my favorite card. Hands down. I feel like he's the most important card. I think every tarot reader develops certain relationships with cards, and he slowly but surely came out of the woodwork as being my least favorite card, and now is all of a sudden at the top of the list. All right. High Priestess. Eight of Cups. 10 of Wands. There seems to be something going on for Aries that's like, if I don't work my butt off, if I don't do the blood, sweat, and tears thing, I don't deserve it. There's a projection that what you want has to come from toil and labor. Okay? I'm not saying you don't have to work, but I think you're making it out to be a lot worse than it actually is. Ooh, the Devil. That's Saturn. Remember what I said? Saturn is opposing Leo. That's exactly what I said. Ace of Coins. Okay, I don't normally, but these clearly fell out. Ooh, King of Wands. Upright, beautiful. And the Knight of Cups. Beautiful. Judgment. Another Page of Coins to mirror the environment. 2 of Swords. 5 of Swords reversed. Knight of Coins and 7 of Cups reversed. Ooh, Emperor and Empress reversed. Okay. The Wheel of Fortune, the 8 of Coins, and the Three of Cups reverse. Okay, so this is where we're going to pick up in the comprehensive. So again, if you want to join, all that information in the description box and the comment thread down below. Thank you all so much for everything. You guys know how much I love and adore you. Have an amazing month of December, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, Aries. Welcome to your December 2022 astrology forecast. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the major transits that are going to be happening for you throughout December. Now, before we get into all the specific dates, I wanted to just talk about two of the outer planets that are going direct, okay? Neptune is going direct on December 3rd, and then on December 23rd, we have Chiron going direct. Now, well, I guess Chiron's technically an asteroid, but you get the idea. Now, Neptune is one of those planets that he's very far away, so he's going to be, last week of November, we're already going to be feeling this. So last week of November, beginning of December, we're going to start to feel a lot of the like internalization, because you know, Neptune, when he's retrograde, he wants us to see our own limitlessness. Because with Neptune, there are no bounds, there are no rules, there are no confines. And he wants us to see that within us, that all the things that are our fears and our limiting decisions and all these things that we have going on, that they don't have to be. And even though they may be there, we don't have to succumb to them. Because if we want to attain our limitless potential, or if we want to embrace, maybe not, I mean, there's maybe nothing to attain specifically, but if we want to embrace our limitless potential, all we have to do is do it. All we have to do is just embrace it. And now that he's going direct, right, stationing direct on December 3rd, so those first several days of December, you're going to really feel that, because when he is stopped basically in the sky, not moving at all, and there's this, it's a process of going backwards to now going forwards again, there's a little bit of inertia. You know, it's like when you take off on an airplane, you know, it takes a while for your body to catch up to that speed of the plane. So when you're first accelerating on the runway, your back is like really pressed up against the seat, right? You can really feel that because your body hasn't really caught up quite yet. So you're going to feel that inertia. And what happens is when Neptune starts going direct, that limitlessness is now seen in the external world. It's now seen in your jobs and with potential relationships and potential with your children and all sorts of wonderful things. But you had to first go through that process of seeing the limitlessness within yourself so that you could perceive the limitlessness in the world. All right, but we're going to start to feel that turning around, and there's going to be a little bit of externalization of that Neptunian energy. So on December 23rd, now I'm skipping a little bit here, but I just want to talk about these big planets first. Chiron goes direct. So basically all of December, all of Sagittarius season especially, we are going to feel this, okay? Because Chiron is, he's also pretty far away, and so he's slowing way, way, way down. And Chiron is being, he's a planet of healing and wounding and trauma, but also healing from that trauma. And throughout Sagittarius season, as we can see, as of December 1st, the sun is already in a beautiful trine with Chiron, which is, it's not like a harsh aspect, it's, a trine is highly harmonious. So the sun is illuminating these pains. And for you in the first house, it does have a lot to do with yourself, your identity, your self-concept, how you perceive yourself. For many of you, it could be your physical health as well, or your physical limitations that you may perceive have been in the way. Again, same thing with Chiron being retrograde. There's a lot of internalization of that. So we tend to go inside to find our own roadblocks, to find the pain and the trauma that has prevented a lot of growth in our lives. But when he starts to go direct, we start to say, okay, well, I know that I can conquer the stuff within myself, and now it's time to conquer the things and the obstacles and the obstructions that are out there. And we get a lot of mirroring when Chiron goes direct, about ourselves in the external world. So, if we have some kind of a blockage, like a financial blockage, well, there may be something going on inside where we, can work on in order to unlock that aspect of life. So when he starts to go direct, there are opportunities for us to get out of our own way. And it's not painful, although we may feel the shift happen, especially if you have planets around that 12th degree of Aries, we may feel the shift, but it's going to pull us in that positive direction, and it's going to enhance our desire to accelerate and to grow. All right, so let's go through some of the dates now. Now that I talked about Neptune and Chiron. So Neptune goes direct on December 3rd. And then on December 6th, just a few days away, we have Mercury coming into Capricorn. The next day, December 7th, we are going to have a full moon conjunct Mars down here in Gemini. And then on December 9th, we have Venus coming into Capricorn as well. So that first week from December 3rd to December 10th-ish, all right, December 9th, December 10th, there is a little bit of astrological activity. So that will probably be a weird week. Things will likely surface. There may be heightened states of emotion. But because Mars is involved in this full moon, which is your ruling planet, by the way, and it is obviously retrograde as well, it's not just that the moon and Mars can be agitated or irritable, and yes, that could be the case. There could be a lot of triggers going on. That's fine. That's manageable. But I think the big part of this is the action aspect. Because Mars in Gemini is a little bit hyper, even though he's retrograde, he wants movement. The third house is really artistic and creative and courageous and passionate. And there's a lot of life force energy that comes through with this third house. There's a lot of youthfulness and a lot of curiosity and playfulness and a lot of learning and collection of information, And so Mars wants to do those things even if he's going retrograde. In fact, he may want to do those things even more because he feels like he needs to take advantage of this time to collect as much as he possibly can, because he knows that everything that he learns now will be useful in the future. So there is that sense of urgency. And when the moon comes into that conjunction and we have a big full moon there, there is going to be an opportunity for us to take some bigger actions. To take bigger leaps of faith or to make big decisions that are going to have high impact in our lives. And when Mercury and Venus come into Capricorn, there is a usefulness with Capricorn, right? The motto is I use. So as much as we have the spiritual component of Sagittarius, there's also a usefulness with Capricorn. So everything we learn in terms of wisdom and spiritual development and healing and all of this gets to be carried over into some kind of practical way for the sake of our own abundance. So that first week, there's going to be a change in all of us. Something is going to click. Something is going to click up here, and it's going to take conscious effort to bring it forward into the world. Okay, so when Venus comes into Capricorn on the 9th, we don't really have a lot going on until December 20th. Now, December 20th is when Jupiter comes into Aries again. So this is also going to be really great for you. Now, Aries is starting to speed up right as of December 1st. He's already going direct. He's still slowly going direct because he had that little bit of transition in November. So he's starting to speed up though. And through December, he's going to be in the Mars decan here as well. And because there's no retrograde here, because last time he came into Aries, he was already slowing down, preparing for his retrograde. He came kind of close to Chiron, but not quite. And then he started pulling back. So this is the first time that he's like coming into full speed. So you're going to feel the effects of that, and you're not going to be able to slow yourself down here. And with all of the, the energy of Chiron and Neptune, and like you can tell that the winds are changing. And you want to open those sails to take advantage of the wind, because the wind is going to help you get to your destination faster. I do think speed is something for Aries to consider with Mars in the third house in Gemini. I don't know that Aries is wanting to sit around and waiting for stuff to happen. They want to take stuff into their own hands. And, whether to delegate or do it themselves or whatever the case is. But I mean, there's an element of like accountability here with Jupiter in your sign. It's like you're taking all the responsibility for your own success, for your own financials, for the health of your relationship, and I'm not saying you can change another person. So if you're in a challenged relationship, I'm not saying that you should shoulder the whole thing, but whatever is your responsibility, you're taking responsibility for it. There's no way that Aries right now is pointing fingers at anything but themselves, and to a degree that can be great. Just make sure you don't cross the line into like blame and shame, because that's when it gets toxic and that's when it gets unproductive. It's not the point of taking responsibility. The point of taking responsibility is so that you know that you have control over the progress of things. All right. And I do sense determination with Aries right now. You really are wanting things to succeed. And when the sun comes into Capricorn on the 21st, obviously this is the winter solstice now. So that means winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, it's the opposite. So there is a change in light at this time. So northern hemisphere wise, we have the light starting to take over. Now, the night will still be longer than the day, but the nights are getting shorter. So there is this component of hope that happens right here. There's a component of growth as well, because it is cardinal, right? Capricorn is cardinal. And so we have the energy to back everything up. We have the determination to back everything up. We're not just talking here. Mars in retrograde in Gemini, he's not really a talker. He's a put your money where your mouth is kind of deal. Like you can talk all you want, but if you don't have something to show for it, then it's meaningless and you know it. So Aries has kind of a little bit of a fire under their butt as soon as Jupiter comes in their sign. And they're going to feel that heat. They're going to feel that, oh, okay, now's the time. They're going to feel the urgency. A lot of you, it's really financial, because we do have the North Node and Uranus over here still in this conjunction. This is the last month of their conjunction, by the way. They've been in conjunction since the beginning of August, September, October, November, and now December. In middle of January, Uranus is going to station direct, and that is going to start to separate. So this was a portal. I was calling it a portal, but it was a period of time where we had the opportunity to make substantial change or to make substantial progress in something. For you, hopefully this was financially, okay? And maybe those finances were rooted in your sense of self-worth. Maybe it was rooted in your sense of self-value and whatnot, but growing and dealing with that. Again, with Chiron now going direct, I think you're at a pretty good spot. You don't have to keep doing all the healing work now. You can actually stand with confidence and say, I'm just going to be confident today. That's just what I'm just going to do. Okay? So on the 23rd then, we had not only have Chiron going direct, but on that very same day on the 23rd, we have that new moon at 1 degree of Capricorn. Now remember, the moon is in detriment in Capricorn, and it's a dark moon nonetheless, and it's in the Saturnian decan according to modern traditional rulerships of the decans or decans, okay? So this is a difficult new moon. It's dark, it's cold, and I think this is kind of that reinforcement of the leap of faith. Because we're going to probably take a big action with the full moon conjunct Mars. Now, the good thing about the full moon is that there's at least light. There's light. We can see. There's some illumination there. So when we take a leap of faith and then that moon wanes and then it comes into this very difficult position, there is this big question mark there. And there could be some second guessing where you say, oh my gosh, 2 weeks ago, I made this big change, or I said I was going to do this thing, and now it feels like it's going to be harder than I thought. Am I going to continue or not? And a lot of people are going to give up just 2 weeks later. They're going to say, screw it. It's too hard. It's too confusing. It's requiring too much of me. It means too much. It means I'm going to have to change too much, and I'm not ready for that. And if that's you and that's the case, then that's fine. But it doesn't have to be. It's the people who power through that new moon that are really going to see the acceleration and the increase coming in through 2023. The faith and the trust of the process has to be really, really strong at the beginning of Capricorn season. Now remember, this is the first time too, Venus comes into Capricorn on the 9th. This is the first time she has returned back into Capricorn since her retrograde at the beginning of 2022. Now I want you to think back to January, February, and March of 2022 and think of what was happening. A lot of people were going through something really, really hard. I'm not saying that was definitely you. It wasn't everybody, but a lot of people went through very challenging circumstances at that time. So she's coming back here with her head held high and say, guess what, Capricorn? Guess what, Pluto? I made it. You didn't think I could, but I did. So there's that kind of sense of honor and dignity and grace that Venus brings when she comes in, walks in the room, and kind of proves everybody wrong. All right, so I think that if you haven't done that, then that's probably what's going to be activated now, of like saying, you know what, I don't want everyone to be right. Like maybe they saw me at my worst and they may have made certain judgments about me, and I don't want to confirm or validate those judgments. Because in 10th house, we do care about what people think. It matters. We're social creatures. It matters what people think. People's perception can motivate us. If people see us in kind of a negative light, we may, as much as we would like to say we don't do it for anybody, okay, like, come on. You would have to be a really, really high degree yogi or something to be able to really say that. Even then it's questionable. At what point does the spiritual ego kick in? I don't really know. But anyway, so as much as you would like to say, it doesn't matter what people think, at the end of the day, a lot of times other people's opinions and other people's projections motivates us to be better. And so I think when Venus comes in, wherever you are on that spectrum, that's kind of what's going to happen. Now, we do have a Mercury retrograde also happening on the 29th. Now, Mercury he's going to be slowing down in Capricorn. I actually don't mind the Mercury retrograde in Capricorn because it's going to be somewhat similar to a Mars in Gemini, meaning that it will be industrious, meaning it will be productive, and it will give us the opportunity to again, similar to Mars retrograde, it will give us that opportunity to reset and reboot, to strategize, to rethink things, to restructure, and to kind of specify much more clearly exactly how we plan on achieving something. Guys, if you don't have a plan and a calendar and an agenda and daily tasks of what needs to be done, December is the time to put that together. Okay? Because when we come into 2023, and I'm not saying this because of New Year's resolutions, I'm saying this because it's Capricorn energy and it's cardinal. And a lot of the seeds that we plant in cardinal seasons, those are the ones that end up growing. When we start planting seeds in like Pisces, Gemini, Virgo, and Sagittarius, some of those can be a little bit, like you may get excited about it for like a minute and then it just kind of fades off because that's the nature of mutable. But there's a seriousness with cardinal because it is followed by fixed, which has that determination to keep it going. So it's like it has that added benefit of the fixed energy that comes after. Because it's like when you plant something at the beginning and you give it focus for 2 whole months, the likelihood of you continuing focus until the next cardinal season is much, much, much higher because it becomes a habit at that point. So when we do stuff in cardinal seasons, Capricorn, Aries, Cancer, and Libra, it's just automatically going to be more sustainable. Okay? So that Mercury retrograde, now he's not officially coming into a conjunction with Pluto. He's coming kind of close, but it's not like right there. So I don't know that I would fully say that Pluto is like technically involved. But I guess he's involved enough, you know, and it's just so many people are ready to shed that crusty old layer of existence and open up a new adventure. And like this really is a great time for that as we prepare for Pluto and Saturn to enter into their new signs. Okay? All right, so that gives you a basic rundown of everything that's going to happen in December. You guys know I love and adore you. Have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.